There was a morning we were standing in the bathroom together, Greg and I, by the sink. He had just finished taking his chemotherapy pills, an arsenal of them, and then a whole battery of additional pills to manage what the chemotherapy pills were doing to his body, because that is how it worked. The medicine that is saving your life is also quietly dismantling it, and then you take more medicine to manage the dismantling. He looked at me and said he was tired of taking the medicine. He had never said that to me before, not once, in over a decade, not once. I knew exactly what it meant because Greg had told me himself years earlier what it meant when someone said they were tired. And I stood there in that bathroom and looked at my husband and I asked him the hardest question I have ever asked anyone in my life. But first, let me take you back to the beginning of this chapter. When Greg arrived at MD Anderson and met Dr. Cathy Eng for the first time, she looked at him and said, "I know your cancer numbers are rising and you were trying to find where the new cells are growing. Don't worry, we'll find it. We'll find it." Do you know what those 3 words meant to us after everything we had been through? After the months of mailed files and wet records and unreturned phone calls and doors that wouldn't open? Someone who was going to look, someone who was going to find it, someone was in our corner. That was the beginning of a decade-long friendship and bond that our family still has with Dr. Eng to this day. She fought for Greg. She offered him new lines of treatment when others had run out of ideas. She was his doctor and his advocate and genuinely his friend. We love her and we still do. I need you to sit with that for a moment. Over 10 years of 2-week chemotherapy cycles, blood work, hours of infusion, chemotherapy drugs, anti-nausea drugs, the whole cocktail. Greg coming home with the bag still attached to his port, the medicine still flowing, and then returning later that week to empty it and have it removed, and to make sure he was strong enough to leave. Over time, the liquid infusions became very hard on his body. There were stretches where his doctors would switch him from chemotherapy pills instead, several of them daily for several days at a time. And when we got those calls, when they said he could come off the infusion and take the pills for a few months, we celebrated. We celebrated because the pills, though still a lot, meant freedom from the oncology office every 2 weeks. They meant a break from sitting all day while medicine dripped into his chest. They meant something that looked from a certain angle like ordinary life. We structured our entire world around those 2-week cycles. Every plan, every trip, every family moment built around what the treatment calendar allowed for. That was our normal for over a decade. And Greg was a force inside all of it. He rarely complained. He did physical activities with the kids whenever his body would let him. He pushed himself to teach Taekwondo classes between treatments. He showed up for his kids the way only he could, fully, joyfully, stubbornly present. We enjoyed our family. We loved each other with everything we had. We built a beautiful life inside an impossible situation. Okay, I'm gonna take you to over a decade later. We're in that bathroom by the sink, getting ready for that day. Greg just finished taking his pills, as I mentioned. And then he says to me, "I'm tired of taking this medicine." Over the years, Greg and I had become a kind of resource for other cancer patients and their families. People would find us and reach out, asking about doctors, about treatments, about natural remedies, about how to keep going. And we welcomed all of them. We shared everything we had learned. And Greg used to say something to me. He said it more than once with the certainty of someone who had watched people walk this road all the way to its end. He said, "Once someone says they are tired, that's it. They've given up, and there is nothing anyone else can do to change their mind." I had never forgotten that. Greg had watched both of his parents die. He had held that kind of loss in his body. I had not then at least. So when he spoke about what it looks like when someone is done, I listened. I filed it away. I prayed I would never need it. And then when we were standing in that bathroom and he said he was tired, I looked at him and I asked him softly, "Are you giving up?" And he said no. He said he would take the pills even if it meant one more day with me and the kids. One more day. He was fighting to survive. He was fighting for one more day with us. That was the math he was doing every single morning when he reached for those bottles. I still see him, slightly hunched over the sink. His spine had started to curve. He was shorter now. I was taller than him. His body, which had once been a former football player's body, broad and strong and certain, had become something smaller and more fragile. His color and his face had changed. He was still our hero. He was still the backbone of everything. He was still my person. But he was tired. And I knew what that meant. So many nights I pressed my face into my pillow so I could cry without him hearing me. I would lie there and cry the way children cry, completely, without dignity, without control. And then I would dry my eyes and go back to whatever the next thing was, because there was always a next thing. Greg was in his rocking chair in the next room watching television, trying to forget everything we were both carrying. And I was not going to let him carry my fear on top of his own. So I kept it. I kept it in my pillow. I kept it at my desk at work, praying silently between phone calls. I kept it in the kitchen while I made dinner, while I made the green drinks, always one for Greg, always one for me, because I told him we were doing this together and I meant it in every possible way. I kept it in, my smile, when the kids came home through the door after school. And I greeted them like everything was okay. My prayers, my tears, my secret pleas, they became woven into who I was. They were not separate from my life. They were how I moved through it. Sometimes the kids would look at me and ask, "Mommy, are you okay?" I had that look, that somewhere else look. My mind was so full. Work, children, the house, Greg's medical care, the bills, the next appointment, the next option, the next call, that sometimes I was praying without even realizing I was doing it. I was lonely. I want to say that plainly because I think it matters. You can be surrounded by love and still be lonely. You can be in the middle of a full and beautiful life and still be carrying something so heavy and so private that no one around you can really touch it. That is what being a caregiver can do to you. That is what loving someone through something like this can do. This journey can break you. It eventually broke me. I will never be the same. My children will never be the same. And my family will never be the same. And yet, here I am, still walking, still talking, still here. Because broken is not the same as finished. Today, I want to speak directly to the caregivers. If you are the one who stays up listening, the one who makes the green drinks and drinks one yourself so they don't feel alone, the one who dries your face before walking back into that room, the one whose mind is so full it has started to prey on its own, I see you. You are doing the most important work there is, and you are probably doing it without anyone telling you that. Without anyone checking on you, without anyone asking you how you're holding up and meaning it. You matter in this story too, not just as support, as a person, as someone who is also surviving something. Don't disappear into the caregiving. Stay tethered to yourself. You may feel like you are broken. You may have been broken, but you will not stay broken. You are still here, and the fact that you are still here means your story is not finished. Keep walking forward. I'll be right here walking with you. I'm Nadine, and this is Widowed, Not Broken.